Good morning. If there are uh, two acts are available for the acts committed by any accused, he may be prosecuted for both the offences, but at the same time there may not be two punishment for single act. This is the uh, criminal jurisprudence correlated with fundamental rights guaranteed. T.S. Balaya versus T.S. Rangachari, 1969, 3 SCR 65, as well as State of Maharashtra versus Syed Hussain Syed Subham, 2018, 4, crimes 167. In the given case, the Supreme Court held that even though the offender under two different enactments committed offence, he is liable for prosecution under both enactments but shall not be liable to be punished twice for the same offence. This will go with section 26 of the General Classes Act. General Classes Act always operates for every provisions of the statute. General Classes Act section 26 says provision as to offence punishable under two or more enactments where an act or omission constitute an offence under two or more enactments, then the offender shall be liable to be prosecuted and punished under either or any of those enactments, but shall not be liable to be punished twice for the same offence. That is called double jeopardy. Then the case Ravi Sinha versus State of Jharkhand, 2018-1, Supreme Court 178. This case related to Madam Jayalalitha case. Here in the case, Ravi Sinha, fodder scam accused at Bihar, underwent trial. Pending trial, his properties were attached. However, pending trial, Dr. Sinha died, but however his son, though co-accused, happens to be facing trial. The earlier attachment order of Dr. Sinha was continued, and when that was challenged, the Supreme Court said that the Supreme Court may not interfere under section 136 of the Article 136 of the Constitution of India. 136 of Constitution of India speaks about special leave to Supreme Court. But in Jayalalitha case, actually what had happened, she was acquitted by the Honorable High Court, Delhi. Therefore, Karnataka. Therefore, when the state preferred an appeal, there may not be any stigma on her because as appeal was abated due to death of Madam Jayalalitha. If she would have been convicted by the High Court, then the case was different. But however, the Supreme Court did not concentrate or interpret benevolently or conveniently or for the purpose of intention of the legislature. Since the Supreme Court has upheld the judgment of the trial court, they ought to have held that the deceased Madam Jayalalitha was also convicted under that act. But however appeal was abated. If that would have been the case, the property of Madam Jayalalitha would have been confiscated for the serious allegation. However, whatever it may be, let us see what the properties are going to be used. Then these important provisions were there. The Supreme Court also deals with Section 4 of Ordinance 1944. This ordinance only empower the trial court to attach the property, which was ill-gotten property. But however, the Supreme Court, in the case of Ravi Sinha case, held that if the properties which was earned or laundered by different conversion, that was not available, the court can attach the property of the accused, even though he claims that that property is nothing to do with the offences. Therefore, if we transfer that such money or other property is not available for attachment, such property of other property of said person equivalent value may be attached as district judge may think fit. This was the verdict. Kindly go through all this judgment. Best wishes.